Hey everybody, my name is Peter McQueenie and I am a personal trainer. I'm making this video to give you guys an introduction to who I am and let you know about my journey into the fitness space. So I have struggled with weight my entire life, and when I was younger I was bullied a lot. I look back at pictures of myself from that time and honest to goodness, I was not overweight, but I was one of the few kids who didn't have a visible rib cage in my school. I don't really know why other kids were built that way, but they just were, and I wasn't. I was bullied in some form or fashion all the way up through high school, and over time, I grew to associate athletics and any kind of athletic endeavor, sports, with people who hurt me. Most people probably know what I'm talking about. It was your typical jocks versus nerds kind of situation. Over time, it made me feel like athletic spaces were a place that I was not welcome. Now, I was actually at a healthy body weight all the way up until I graduated high school. And after that point in college, some of the foods that I had access to at that time, and being, a young man who's looking out for himself for the first time, I overdid it. My first major weight loss came towards the end of my college career. This would have been about 2006 or 2007. I started getting pains in my side, and I went to go see the campus doctor about it. And she couldn't find any obvious cause, but she said something that I now look back on as a little judgmental, but at the time it was what I needed to hear. She said, if you lost weight, stuff like this might just stop happening to you. And she recommended that I try out the Atkins diet. I don't remember exactly how much I lost on the Atkins diet, but it was on the order of 100 pounds. And I exercised using the Gazelle. You remember the Gazelle? If you're old enough, you'll remember the Gazelle and Tony Little, the guy with his ridiculous ponytail. Anyway, it was exercise, and I got to like it, I woke up every morning and I would eat a piece of turkey to get my metabolism going, and then I would chug out, an hour on the Gazelle. It was good for a while, but then I graduated college. I was working in bars and restaurants. I had a lot of access to foods that were not Atkins friendly. And I was drinking and partying with my friends. I was young, doing all the typical post-college stuff. After I met my wife, we moved to California together, and we got engaged, and so we both started thinking about trying to get in a little bit better shape for our wedding. And again, I opted for a low carb option because that was familiar to me and I had had success with it in the past. We both went on a ketogenic diet. We were pretty proactive about planning our meals throughout the week, and I started using Nintendo Wii Fit, actually. I learned some of my first yoga moves from Wii Fit, and did this fun little running course where you would jog in place and you would go through this little map and everything and see all these different sites, and it was a lot of fun. Actually, I had a lot of fun doing that. If memory serves, I lost something on the order of 60-70 pounds over the course of 6 months to a year or so, and I was in okay shape. I was moving my body regularly, increased my flexibility. It was a good time. A couple of years after we got married, we moved from California to Arkansas for my wife's job, and a few years after that, we had kids. And through the process of moving and having kids, over the course of a couple of years, I gained weight back again. And this time I got to the peak of my life. I got, well into the 300s. During those years, a number of health problems developed for me. One of the first ones was gout. For those of you who don't know, it's a buildup of uric acid that crystallizes in your joints, and it's basically like having broken glass inside your joints. It's the most unfathomably painful experience of my life, and it'll flare up every now and then, a couple of days, maybe a week or so, and then it kind of goes away. I also had hypertension, and I started getting random swelling in my legs. And I never really found out exactly what was going on with that. It was possibly related to blood pressure. But at one time I did have to go to an emergency room because my legs swelled up so much and unevenly that I was worried about a possible blood clot, which is something I have in my family history. My family history is a mess. We've got cancer, diabetes, dementia, heart disease, high blood pressure, yada, yada. I mean, pretty much everything that'll kill you, we've got it. And, at the weight that I was at and with the health problems I was starting to have, I knew that I had to get serious. So we joined a gym at a local community center. At that time, I was a stay-at-home dad, and they had a daycare. It kind of became like a break. It was the only way that I got alone time at that time. We got to do that long enough for me to get a taste of things. And then our good pal coronavirus introduced themselves. Well, I was determined, luckily, to keep the momentum I had found. I was angry at this point. I was angry at myself that I was in my mid-30s and had never really been in good shape. So I found some videos on YouTube, low impact body weight exercises. And all throughout quarantine, I would follow along and work out with these videos. It was around this time that I also read The Obesity Code by Jason Fung, which is a book that I no longer put much stock into. The carbohydrate insulin model of obesity, I think, is one that has a lot of holes in it, one that glosses over a lot of facts, but that's a different video. In any case, it convinced me that it was safe for me to fast for prolonged periods of time. And I'm kind of an all or nothing guy by nature. It's something I've had to kind of work on in recent years, but it appealed to my all or nothing nature. I could just go a whole day and not eat. And while I don't necessarily buy in to all the kind of magic bullet stuff that people talk about when it comes to fasting, it did make it pretty easy for me to achieve a pretty substantial calorie deficit. And because I was exercising, I would say the balance shifted more towards fat loss. I lost over 100 pounds. I got down right about to 200 pounds. I was like 203 at my lightest. And I was skinny, you know what I mean? Because I had never really strength trained seriously. I didn't really have a whole ton of muscle. And so I decided I wanted to start building muscle. I'm 40 now. I touched a barbell for the first time when I was 36. And it was a cheap 10-pound, 5-foot barbell that I got on Amazon for like 25 bucks. And the weights I had were made of concrete. I made them in my garage, and they were not very safe. The holes in them weren't particularly centered, but they were heavy enough, to get me started. I worked out with those concrete weights in my garage for almost a year before I was able to go back to the gym on a regular basis. And I gotta tell you, the first time I stepped up to that squat rack, I felt like a total joke. You know what I mean? I walked over there and I felt like, man, like looking around, like, who's gonna see me here? Like, I don't belong here. People are gonna see me and be like, what the hell is that guy doing? But I kept coming back, I got comfortable with the movements. I learned to squat, bench, and deadlift. I was adding weight every single time, and pretty soon I got addicted to it. It was the feeling you get of stacking up those little incremental wins every time you step into the weight room. When you're having your newbie gain, you stack enough of those up, you start to build confidence. Well, I started thinking, I want to get serious about lifting weights. How can I educate myself? So I discovered a handful of podcasts, that were kind of centered around the fitness industry. And eventually I thought, I don't want to have to do this again. I don't want to have to lose 100 pounds again. Third time's got to be the last time. And if I'm going to keep exercising, I need to make it a fundamental part of my life. So I decided that I was going to go for a personal training certification. I got my first certification through ACE, the American Council on Exercise. Really great program, learned a whole ton. We were still kind of partially in quarantine when I started studying for it. So it was all online, and I was able to go at my own pace, and I deliberately took a very slow pace. You could probably finish that thing in, a week or two if you're really plowing through it at maximum speed. But I read the textbook cover to cover, and I took a full 9 months to get my certification. I made sure that I really knew the material front to back. And also I was interested in it. I'm interested in the science of exercise and in human anatomy and all the things that play into that. I started training people out of my garage and online. It was pretty much just friends and family, while I was working independently, but I got some experience. I learned, kind of the ins and outs of working with different people and how to, tailor workouts to individuals and their needs. And I got comfortable in the role, comfortable enough that when we moved again, once we got settled, I went ahead and got my now current job at Crunch. I gotta say, the first couple of weeks at Crunch, man, it was just like the first time stepping up to that squat rack. You know, I mean, I'm still a bigger guy. I still have fat that I want to lose. And I mean, I look different than most of the other people that I work with. But I've found Crunch to be genuinely a non-judgmental place. The people I work for have faith that I know what I'm doing, despite how I might look to certain people's eyes. I've been there for a couple of months now and things are going really good. You know, I've started working on social media stuff, as anyone who's watching this surely knows already, because, you know, I think about this stuff a lot and I'm a talker. You know, I'm a natural talker. I process information by talking about it to others. I might as well start recording some of it, you know, and if it helps somebody, great. If it doesn't, who cares? You know, if somebody sees it and thinks I'm a joke, whatever, dude, like, not the first time for me. And I love my current job, honestly, it's great. I got no complaints. But, you know, I am limited to my local area, working at a gym. And I think that the people that I am best positioned to help, well, there's only so many of them in this local area. So I wanted to broaden my reach a little bit. And as a part of that, I have just recently launched a storefront on Ko-fi, or Coffee. I'm not sure how you say it, honestly. One of the podcasts I listen to has a site on there and they say Ko-fi, but ko-fi.com/Peter McQueenie PT. The site / my name, PT. On there, I'm offering a couple different things. The most basic one would be like a video consultation. You could book, you know, 40-minute session with me, and we're going over, you know, your health goals, where you are, where you like to go, how you're going to get there. I'm also going to offer custom workouts, you know, which is not just an individual workout, but it's a comprehensive plan that should cover everything from you know, cardio to strength training, and how those two are going to work together to support any weight goals you may have, flexibility and mobility, and nutrition. And for anybody who's interested in ongoing online coaching, I'm offering 3 membership tiers with me with varying benefits. That's all on the site. You can go check all of that out. And also, Ko-fi or Coffee is a donation-based platform similar to Patreon. So in addition to the services and products that I'm going to be offering, you know, anyone who just feels like would give me a little support, that would be a way to do it. And you would have my deepest thanks. Looking into the future a little bit, I'm also hoping to get to work on possibly an ebook at some point. And a series of video courses on how to program your own workouts. So, you know, I want everyone I work with to eventually feel like they don't need me. Anyway, if you've watched my videos, if you're seeing this video now, I would sincerely appreciate your support, and I would thank you for staying with me for the length of this video. But yeah, go check me out on Ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/Peter McQueenie PT. Check me out, drop me a line, and I look forward to working with you.